Hahe o wahale o we e kapua meri.
I was invited in 1968, over half a century ago. Dorothy Hill and Harriet Slater, who were then long-standing members, invited me, and I met them through the Hilo branch of the American Association of University Women. And they said, why don't you come to our next Zonta meeting? I said, Zonta? What is that? And they said, it's a service club for women. I think you would enjoy being there. So I thought, okay. I was anxious to get involved in the community. Part of it was to give me an outlet from being at home with 4 children. And so that was history. Being in Zonta was a great introduction for me to meet people in business and the profession. Of course, my classification was that of a professional volunteer. Way back then, Zonta International had some strict guidelines for membership. For example, a woman had to be invited, and she had to be in a profession or business, and it had to be in a supervisory or executive position. So as a volunteer, of course, I made all the decisions. I have to credit Paul because he allowed me and gave me the opportunity to do all that I was able to do. I got involved in the Hawaii Island United Way, and lo and behold, I became the first female campaign chair. It gave me a great opportunity to get to know the community. It took me to the West Side, and that was a different kind of experience from approaching businesses in Hilo. And also because of that involvement, I was a board member of the statewide association of United Way. And I was fortunate to be able to chair a statewide conference. So my other volunteer endeavors included the organization and directorship with 3 women, 2 other women, and we directed a summer program, summer explorations for gifted and talented students from grade school to junior high. It was really a classroom without walls. So we offered archaeology, 5 days at the Volcano National Park. We did a hike along the Kona coast, and of course I don't like hiking, but provided the meals. And we did, of course, medicine. We did computer science. It was really the start of the scientific world. I was asked by the mayor then, Shunichi Kimura, to serve on the very first Status of Women Committee. And I became the first chair. I'm still so proud of a child care center that some of us started and directed for 30 years. And the reason for that organization was to provide child care for women returning to school. One of the service projects for Zonta then became an annual event where we'd go and sit in low chairs and do tabletop games. Feminism, I wouldn't call an issue. For me, an issue is something problematic. But feminism, of course, we've always advocated for equal rights for all. I think part of my involvement in Zonta and its mission gave me a deeper understanding of what equal rights meant. And so when I was asked to chair the county ERA campaign, Equal Rights Amendment, I accepted that position. I like to think that perhaps going around the island with Margaret Ushijima, who was then, I think, a Zonta member, to gather people to talk about what the Equal Rights Amendment will do for women. And so I was so proud that in 1972, when the U.S. Senate passed the ERA, Hawaii State became the very first state to ratify the ERA. Wasn't that great? I am so proud of Hawaii. I think that was the beginning, the 2 decades that really helped. And so I credit Patsy Mink for her effort in legislation, particularly Title IX. And with that time in history, really. Even men become aware of what was then lacking in terms of employment. I think that was important. Socially, even within a family, it was about awareness, even pay equity. And today, that is still an issue, isn't it? And educational institutions discriminating against women in admission. ERA really woke men up in giving equal opportunities for women. You know, women then were the majority in the educational system. When I got out of college and was assigned to, of all islands, this island, I started in Pahala and then went to KL and taught for 2 years. That was my total career. Not having been in the workforce, I really didn't face that kind of inequality and discrimination. When I became pregnant with Craig, I took leave and I thought, this is nice. And that's how I became a full-time volunteer. Staying at home wasn't all that nice either. Because I have been greatly involved at all levels of Zonta, Zonta became part of my life. And so without thinking, I just keep on going. Besides, I truly believe in the mission of Zonta to empower women. And of course, not only do I enjoy the fellowship, but the service projects that the Zonta Club of Hilo has been involved in over the years have been so meaningful. It was Elaine Sugai who initiated obtaining for us the Weinberg Foundation grant. And because those projects were geared toward women and children, I remember going to the family shelters and doing actually some work that I would never have thought I was capable of doing. Like gardening, helping to scrub cupboards and, I mean, really. But it was fun. And you know what was so endearing? Going to the senior citizen housing projects and providing a meal for Valentine's and taking bingo prizes, which they so enjoyed. Paper towels, facial tissues, canned food. It was so enjoyable. I give credence to the Zonta International Foundation for taking time to research what might be a good project worldwide. And so I remember helping to fund a freshwater well project in Sri Lanka. And of course, we continue to provide scholarships. There's the Amelia Earhart Scholarship, which is ongoing. For all those women who go into aerospace engineering. So for all those projects that help to build even confidence in women, the Zonta International Convention was in 1976, all the way to Wiesbaden in Germany. I was totally impressed because many of them were in top executive positions. That impressed me greatly. And to have conversation with them on a one-to-one basis and to find out what each one of them is involved in, not only in their respective clubs, but in their communities and countries. And after the convention, Paul came over and we spent a whole month in Europe. Can you believe my parents took care of the 4 children? Another reason for my long years in Zonta is the connection with other women. And for me, during the last 2 years of this COVID-19 pandemic, that meant a lot to me because I have a bubble, we call this a bubble, of women with whom we remained connected throughout the pandemic. And this group started really with 4 Zonta members. I think I would start by giving them my personal experiences and to really instill into their minds the importance of helping to empower women, and that it has an impact not only for oneself but for the world.